You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still like dust, I'll rise.
What's up, brownies? By now, I'm sure you all have heard about the story that went viral on TikTok. It's about a college student who was in the DC area and came upon a homeless man who's also a black man. That part's important. Why is it important? You know why.
This is America.
So this TikToker is a hustler. It's Hustlon. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I just typed it so you can go and look it up for yourself. She decided to help him out of her pocket initially and then went the extra mile and set up a GoFundMe for him, and that gained over $400,000. Plot twist. GoFundMe has decided to withhold the funds. Why, you ask? Well, because someone said that he wasn't deserving of it because of his violent past. Now, I know you're wondering what high-ranking official with moral authority was able to make this call, but unfortunately, honey, I couldn't tell you because this alcoholic homeless woman who claims that she was one of the victims wanted to remain anonymous. Well, at least selectively. So let me break it down. She wanted you to see her face because she wanted you to know that she has a complexion for protection, and her kind of homeless and his kind of homeless is not the same type of homeless. Now, she might be a homeless alcoholic, but at least she's better than him. However, somehow when it came to giving her name, she said, well, now, that's not your business. Tabitha Brown voice. So, since we don't know what her name is, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to call her Mary. What do y'all think about that? What you think about Mary?
What Mary tells you to do, it'll never work for me.
Oh, come on, Mary. Now you just a poor loser.
You know your problem, Mary. Mary, this is a disaster. Mary. Mary.
So when the footage was released of a faceless homeless person attacking this nameless homeless person, a lot of people in comments and on different forums were saying, I have no idea why you all just assumed that this homeless man, who was a black man, was a great person anyway. Don't you know a lot of people that are homeless actually have bad reputations and seedy pasts? And that kind of made you wonder if maybe Mary didn't want her name released because she didn't want people looking up her past and judging her and her truths coming out. Well, regardless of her reasoning, Mary feels like because this man has an imperfect past, even though he too is homeless, has no family, and is dying of cancer, what he deserves is to just basically lay down helpless on the sidewalk that he lives on until it's time for him to go to the upper room. Y'all do remember where the upper room is, don't you?
The upper room with Jesus.
So, of course, the cries of racism from Blackistan could be heard all throughout the interwebs as they were saying that GoFundMe is just being selective and they're breaking their own policy by taking this money and keeping it just because he's a black man that was accused by a white woman. But if you all had bothered to do more research than crying racism, you would actually know that this is common for GoFundMe to be accused of selectively taking down people's campaigns. Oh, yes, baby. They've been accused of this before, but not in the way that you would think. It was actually the members of Mary's community that was saying that GoFundMe was being unfair to them because they took their campaigns down, but they let campaigns like those for Black Lives Matter stay up. And honey, I just wouldn't be myself if I didn't point out the irony. So what you're saying is on the basis of keeping up campaigns from BLM, that's why they're racist when they took down campaigns of members of Mary's community. However, I want you to remember that people who maybe agree with BLM are on the interwebs saying that Mary's life doesn't matter, as if she doesn't get to be a real victim. But of course, Mary was also saying that Alonzo's life didn't matter and what he had gone through that led him to be in that bad way. We're not making any assumptions about mental health or anything. It's just that he's a bad guy. Do you all see what the problem is here? Everybody's making assumptions about everybody's past and what life matters and crying racism. And while we're all distracted with that, nobody is paying attention to the fact that politics, capitalism, and classism has entered the chat.
Message.
So let me give you some of the other cases. There was a nurse in Texas who, during the height of COVID, refused to take the vaccine, and thus they had to let her go. Well, when she started a GoFundMe to support herself, there was some language that she used that was labeled as misinformation, and they took the campaign down. There was a bakery who refused to make a wedding cake for a rainbow couple, and she was fined for that. GoFundMe took that campaign down because they didn't want to support hatred. There were a group of Canadian truckers who also refused to take the vaccine, but their campaign was taken down because they said some of the language seemed to promote violence and harassment. Now, the rest of these people that you see scrolling in the background had gotten their campaigns taken down because they were to be used for legal defense. And we've gone over that before. You can't use it for that. Now, a couple of these people took somebody out because they didn't have the complexion for protection, whereas the violent people who are begging for money, they actually did. And I think that's why they got the funding. It was just through a different platform. So maybe you all need to find out which platform they use if you really want to get Alonzo his money. Now, this one here, they say that what he was doing was for a good reason. He just got the wrong person. I don't know the details. That's not my business. But back to the point, people are saying that you all allowed BLM to have a campaign and didn't take that down, even though it says on their website that some of the funds collected could be used for bailing them out of jail. So technically, that's like legal purposes. And so if you took down the one for the Canadian truckers, then why is BLM allowed when they're protesters too? You know how people will overstate or understate a situation, twist it into a pretzel to get it to fit their narrative. But here's the real takeaway from that situation. And that is, GoFundMe said what they said. We keep our rules and regulations loose for a reason. It's because we want to be able to do whatever we want to do. And who gonna check us? Okay? So you can't tell somebody else what they can and can't do with their own platform. If you still want these funds to go to the black men, then you need to request the refund through the proper channels, and then maybe go find some of the same platforms that people like Kyle and George used when they used somebody who didn't have the complexion for protection for target practice, because somehow, some way, them people got their money. Okay? Figure out what platform they use and go use that one. Or how about this crazy idea? How about you all go fund me, myself, personally? Because I have never harmed anyone, nor do I plan to. No criminal record. Nope. I'm just an unfortunate person. Hereditary, chronic illness, very rare. Only 0.002% of the population can say that they have a pain this severe and unique. Get a bad headache, you lose function of one half of your body temporarily. My God, today. Do I deserve to be funded? No, I'm not a black man. You all won't coddle me and make excuses for me about what happened in my life. I too am a human. My life matters. But at some point in time, you all are going to have to realize that you are excluded from the same marching and protesting and support that you willingly give them. It'll never happen for you. The cavalry isn't coming. Not for us, dear. See, that's a one-way street. So I won't be holding my breath waiting on you all to support me.
The most disrespected person in America is the black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the black woman. The most neglected person in America is the black woman.
But I do have one more alternative. For those of you who have realized that, you know what? Maybe as far as Alonzo, we might want to sit this one out and let the Lord handle it. Maybe when you get that refund from GoFundMe, since you like supporting homeless people, there's a lot of homeless women and children in that same DC area, and you can find them in battered women's shelters. Now, you might want to check with the Marys of the world to see if even their lives matter, honey. Maybe we have to go get the credit report and the criminal background report to see if they deserved the bruises that they have. You know, maybe check the children's criminal background and see if they're worthy of the kindness of strangers, because apparently we have to do that nowadays. But child, I'm on the sick and shut in list myself, so I can't help. And plus, I'm a member of the community that when I'm being violated, people just stand around and watch or drive off. So I just wish blessings and favor and grace upon everybody involved in the situation, whether you are a hustler or a disturber or you're just distraught. God bless, and may everybody be taken care of because we all human and thus deserve human kindness.
So you